Black truck driver sells truck to put his twin daughters in school. 20 years later, they came back. It was a cloudy dawn in the interior of Mato Grosso when Raul woke up with an empty bed. The radio still played softly in the corner of the room, but the sound that dominated the house was silence. A strange silence, heavy. He stood up, crossed the corridor with his eyes still half open, and saw her lying next to the stove, the pot of coffee overturned on the floor. Maria, his wife, a companion on the road in her soul, no longer breathed. The ambulance arrived quickly, but not in time. Fulminating attack, they said. Unexpected. Unacceptable. Unpalatable. While the paramedics left with his body covered by a white sheet, Raul stood in the doorway with the world collapsing inside his chest. Inside, in the next room, 2 3-year-old girls slept side by side. Lara, who dreamed that she was flying. Luna, who only slept well listening to her mother's voice singing Peixe Vivo. That night, Raul did not cry. He left home before sunrise. The red truck was waiting for him in the mud garage. It was his livelihood, his pride, his tin house and motor. Inside, there were still toys hanging in the rearview mirror, drawings pasted on the dashboard, and a pillow with the smell of talcum, powder. When turning the key, the roar of the engine seemed heavier than usual, as if he knew that this would be the last snoring. All the way, 1,800 kilometers south, Raul drove like a zombie. On the radio, no music seemed bearable. In the eyes, no landscape made sense. Only the image of Mary on the floor and the girls in the cradle. So small, so lost, so much his now. At kilometer 802 of the BR, he stopped at a mountain viewpoint, got out of the cabin and looked at the sky. For the first time in years, he spoke to God. He didn't ask for anything. He just said, "I don't know what will become of me, but they will study, even if I have to sell the wheels I have left." There, between the smell of burnt brakes and the morning fog, Raul made a vow, a vote that the whole road would hear, a vote that time would try to erase, but that would be engraved on every callus on his hands. He returned home without the same soul in his body. But when he pushed open the door to the living room and saw the twins running to him, Lara with their mother's comb and Luna with his shirt dragging on the floor, something ignited. He hugged them, feeling both little hearts beat fast. His road had changed. Now it no longer had a shoulder, nor return. He just kept moving forward, towards Ho, a future where his daughters wouldn't have to swallow dust to survive. And the red truck? He didn't know yet, but its destination would be nobler than any cargo ever transported. And so it was that the last trip of the red truck marked the beginning of the longest and most valuable journey that Raul would ever face, that of being a full-time father. And little did he know that the real freight of his life was just beginning. Raul has never been one to cry, but that first dawn, with 2 empty bottles and 2 girls crying at the same time, he understood that the most difficult road had no tolls. There were screams, and there was no GPS to teach him how to be a mother. In the cupboard, there was only raw rice, a can of sardines, and a carton of expired powdered milk. The girls didn't want food, they wanted solace. They wanted the lap that smelled of lavender and coconut soap. They wanted Maria. Desperate, Raul put on a wrinkled t-shirt, tucked the girls under his thick road coat, and ran to the only place open, the Maranata 24-hour gas station. There, the fluorescent light illuminated the tires, the plastic cups, and the curious looks of the gas station attendants. That's when a lady left the cafeteria, wiping her hands on her apron. He wore a flowered scarf on his head and worn slippers. Her name was Dona Gloria. "These girls are hungry for milk, but you're hungry for education, Mr. Raul." She didn't judge, nor did he mock. She just took 2 ready-made bottles, stored in a minibar in her living room, and handed them to him as if they were gold. "Milk donated from mothers who have stopped breastfeeding but still have a heart," she explained. Raul held the bottles with a trembling hand. He sat on an iron stool, saw the girls suckle right there in the courtyard lit by the blue neon, and collapsed. The first tear fell on the dirty sneakers. In the days that followed, Dona Gloria became more than a helper. She became her father's teacher. He taught how to heat milk at the right temperature, how to recognize the difference between colic and mourning, like making a crooked braid just to see Luna's crooked smile. In the truck's ride, the twins became part of the itinerary. Raul adapted the rear seat with cushions, designed a fence with cushions to prevent falls, and glued phosphorescent stars to the roof of the cabin. "Now it's our heaven," he said. When customers asked him why he took longer to deliver, he replied, "Because now my cargo is more precious." At each stop at new stations, he changed bottles. I learned to wash clothes in the bathroom sink. He carried diapers and dolls in the same trunk that used to store engine parts. And so, in the middle of the asphalt, Raul realized something that no road has ever taught, that love is not measured by the distance you travel, but for the willingness to stop everything for those who really matter. And it was there, between bottles and diesel, that a new legend of the road was born. That of the truck driver who exchanged the roar of the engine for the crying of his daughters, and who learned that sometimes the greatest trip is the one that teaches you to take care. The Maranata station on the side of the BR-364 has always been a support point for tired truck drivers, but after Raul, it became something different. It became a refuge. It became home. It became unintentionally the first improvised daycare center on the road. It was there that Lara learned to walk, between orange cones and oil drums, with the sole of the slipper slipping on the smooth diesel floor. Luna said her first sentences there too, calling each gas station attendant by name and naming each truck as if it were an imaginary friend. Dona Gloria, realizing that the thing was more serious, set up a girls' corner in the cafeteria's warehouse. A mattress with a Hello Kitty sheet, a box with colored pencils, and an improvised bookshelf with children's books that Raul brought from roadside markets. In a short time, truck drivers from all over already knew Raul's twins. "Hey Lara, have you done your duty?" "Luna, where's that drawing of my blue Scania?" It was like that. The station became a village, and Raul became a symbol. When she needed to unload, she always left her daughters with someone she trusted. The truck drivers took turns. One kept an eye out while waiting for boarding, another told stories on the road, and a third brought pastel and juice from a box. The twins grew up surrounded by men who were hard in face but soft in heart. Men who lost children, who were too far away to follow birthdays, and who now saw in Luna and Lara a chance to do things differently. And Raul, even exhausted, smiled, because there he was no longer just a father. He was a father and a bridge. He was a shelter and an example. Over time, even customers in the region got used to it. "Ah, that's Raul. Come with the two little ones." The delivery took longer, but it came with a toast story. And no box was damaged. And it was on this greasy floor between horns and trucks that the twins learned something that no school teaches, that home is where we are cared for, even if it's to the sound of jackhammers and the smell of diesel. And little did those simple men in shabby jeans know that they were writing, right there, the first chapter of a silent revolution, that the road could indeed be a place of creation, affection, and education. And in the heart of it all, Raul followed, driving the impossible. At the age of 6, Lara returned from school in silence. It was strange. She, who always narrated everything, from the taste of the snack to the number of ants she saw in the courtyard, did not say a word. Luna was also quiet, but her eyes betrayed the pent-up anger. Raul, who already knew the silences of the road and the signs of the times, understood. This was different. He didn't ask. He just made porridge, put 2 pots on the table, and waited. Luna was the first to give in. He took out of his pocket a crumpled note. In it, a children's drawing of a truck on fire. Next to them, 2 small figures with their hair tied and big eyes. Underneath, the phrase scribbled by another child, "Truckers' daughters smell like grease." Raul didn't need anything else. The spoon fell from his hand. The gorge dried up like the roads in times of drought. The next day, he went to school, not with shouting, but with a firm gaze. The director received him with tense smiles and ready-made phrases. Pedagogical environment, social adjustment, mother's more present help. It was there that the word cut off. Mothers. She had said mothers more present. As if Maria's absence was his fault. As if he hadn't cleaned his nose, cured fever, braided hair with calloused fingers from changing tires so much in the rain. On the way home, Raul stopped halfway. He parked the truck, his old iron companion, on the side of the road. He leaned his forehead against the steering wheel and cried. She cried like she had never left. There, he realized, he couldn't do it anymore. The road that was once home was now heavy. The ride became a prison. The truck, a constant reminder of all that he could no longer offer. The twins no longer needed makeshift toys with bearings or quick meals between stops. They needed books, structure, dignity, and of a father who wasn't always leaving. That night, Raul looked at his daughters sleeping and said, more to himself than to them, "Tomorrow I'm going to sell the truck." They didn't listen, but the silence of the room seemed to respond, with the light breeze coming in through the window, as if Maria herself had nodded. And at that moment, a new road was mapped out. No tolls, no GPS, but with a certain destination. The future of her daughters. The truck that once carried worlds would now be the fuel of a new world. And the world there began to change. In the city of Barreiras, every first Saturday of the month, the auction of vehicles of the rural cooperative took place. Crashed trucks, old tractors, machine parts harvested from time. It was a small event, with the smell of barbecue and bar talk. But on that Saturday, there was something different in the air. A red truck, glossy despite the years, was among the lots. It wasn't just a machine for sale. It was a closed chapter. Raul arrived early. He wore his best shirt, the navy blue one with the collar button sewn by Luna, and a cap that hid his sweaty forehead. The daughters did not know. He said he was going to solve some things in the city. They stayed with Dona Gloria, drawing maps that one day they wanted to follow. In the auction yard, everyone knew Raul. He was the twins' truck driver, the father who took toys and changed diapers in, the hitchhiker, the man who refused beer to buy colored pencils. Seeing his truck among the lots, many whispered, "Has he gone mad? Sell the only income?" For what? Raul just watched in silence. In his hands, he held a small portrait of Maria, worn out by time. It was not superstition. It was an anchor. It was a promise. The auctioneer began the session. 3-4 trucks are gone. When it was Red's turn, the air seemed to be heavy. The auctioneer tried to cheer up the audience. "Here we have a warrior of the roads, a 2004 with the soul of 2025. Who makes the first move?" Silence, until a man raised his hand. Winter Miles. The price was low, humiliating, but Raul did not hesitate. He closed his eyes and nodded. It was little, but it was all he needed to guarantee 5 years of private school, uniform, books, and still have enough to buy snacks. The sale was registered. The truck was towed. And Raul walked away. He didn't hitchhike. He did not ask for help. He just walked. With his feet that once traveled 1,000 roads on the asphalt, he now stepped on the dirt ground with the dignity of someone who knows that losing is sometimes the shortest way to win. At the end of the street, he stopped in front of a newsstand. On the glass, a local headline read, "Father sells truck to pay for twin daughter's study." Someone had recorded everything and posted it. The video was already circulating on the networks. He sighed. "I didn't want fame. I just wanted to see the girls graduated." And as the sun began to set, Raul arrived home. His daughters ran to hug him, and he, for the first time, allowed himself to lie on the living room floor and laugh with them. Because on that day, a simple man had sold steel to buy wings, and the whole world would begin to realize that the greatest vehicle anyone can drive, it is the future of those who love each other. Without the truck, Raul was light, but the lightness tasted bittersweet. Each morning without an engine to warm up was a reminder that the sacrifice was real. He was now a man on foot, with the sole of his sneakers punctured and his knee complaining on rainy days. But where many saw weakness, Lara and Luna saw strength. Every morning, Raul woke up before the sun. She prepared black coffee, heated porridge, and put notes in her daughter's backpacks with phrases such as, "Pride lives here," or "Your brightness guides me." Then he would put on the cleanest shirt, comb their hair with fingers that once changed clutches, and take them to school, afoot. 3 kilometers. Round trip. Every day. On the sidewalk, neighbors watched the scene. The former truck driver in a faded cap and shabby pants, with 2 pink backpacks slung over his shoulder, and the twins walking alongside, laughing, discussing math or singing gas station jingles. The teachers began to notice. Luna, curious and methodical, asked questions about the solar system. Lara, sensitive and attentive, wrote essays that made the room cry. The director commented in a meeting, "They have something different. Focus, respect, hunger to learn. You can see that they come from a place of a lot of love." Raul, who was sitting in the back with his cap in his hand, smiled. But he said nothing. He now worked as a night watchman in a small warehouse. He slept only 2 hours a day, enough to recharge his body, but not his spirit. Exhaustion accumulated, but the joy of the daughters when they arrived from school renewed everything. In the afternoon, he helped with homework. He learned to deal with grammar, science, and even geometry. And when he made a mistake, he apologized. Because more than right, I wanted to be present. On weekends, they assembled small toys with pieces of cardboard. Once, they built an imaginary truck together, made with boxes of laundry detergent and rolls of toilet paper. They pasted the name University on the hood. "That's what's going to take us into the future, right, Dad?" Luna asked. "Yes, my daughter. No one else takes this one away from us," replied Raul. And so, with each step on the hot asphalt, Raul relearned what really moved the world. Not diesel, not steel, but love. Because when a father walks with his children, even the ground bows in respect. And that road on foot, it was straighter, firmer, and more beautiful than any highway ever built. Time passed like windswept road dust, and when the twins turned 14, the day of their graduation from elementary school arrived. The school organized the ceremony in the city's indoor gymnasium. There were blue and yellow balloons, posters with inspirational phrases, and white chairs lined up like soldiers ready to watch the parade of conquests. Raul arrived early. Ironed shirt, polished shoes with banana peel, and a perfume left over from an old bottle of Maria's. In his hands, he carried a simple cell phone with a camera, ready to record what the heart would never forget. Lara and Luna wore simple floral dresses, hair braided with ribbons, and that look that mixes nervousness with joy. When they arrived, on stage, the director asked for 1 minute before the delivery of the certificates. "Today, we want to honor someone who not only supported, but rebuilt the path for these students to be here." A screen lit up, and he started taking pictures. Raul walking with his daughters to school. Raul pushing the shopping cart with backpacks and notebooks. Raul sleeping sitting with an open book on his lap while the girls studied. A caption appeared. Some parents drive trucks, others direct destinies. The gym was silent. Luna took the microphone. The firm voice, but the teary eyes. "Our father sold the truck so we could study. He exchanged the road for the sidewalks, the roar of the engine for the sound of our lessons, and today that we give back part of that." She pulled an object covered by a white cloth. It was a wooden plaque with hand-carved letters, a gift made by a carpenter from the community. "Dad, your freight has taken us far." Raul tried to hold back his tears but failed. Lara called him to the stage. He climbed up awkwardly, hands shaking. The audience gave a standing ovation. Some wept openly, others just closed their eyes as if praying inside. His daughters hugged him at the same time, 3 hearts beating in unison. 3 stories merged into a single embrace. On the way out, a local journalist asked for a word. Raul replied with the simplicity that has always defined him. "They are my road, and a good road is the one that takes us to where it's worth it." That day, Raoul did not receive a trophy. She received something more valuable: the recognition that her love built not only students, but citizens. And there, on a simple public school stage, a truck driver father became a living monument of a vow fulfilled with love. The video of the tribute went viral. In a few days, the truck driver who sold his own truck to educate his daughters made national headlines. But Raoul didn't want fame. He just wanted to know if the girls had lunch, if they had done their homework, if they had their backpacks organized for the next step. And this step, it came from his own daughters. "Dad, remember? When you turned the truck ride into a makeshift classroom? Remember when Donna Gloria made a nursery in the cafeteria's warehouse? We want to repay all this. But for many children, there is still a long way to go to get to education." It was then that Luna and Lara presented the idea. An itinerant school on wheels equipped with a library, laboratory, and reception space. The project would be called School on the Road, Raoul Project. An old school bus was donated by a businessman who saw the girls' interview. Donations began to arrive from all corners. Volunteers volunteered to teach classes, artists painted the vehicle in vibrant colors, and good-hearted mechanics restored each bolt as if it were sacred. Raoul cried on the day of the first trip. Not because I missed the truck, but because I realized that, somehow, he had never strayed from the road. Now her traces were there. On the seat upholstered with fabric from the old hitchhiker, on the colored ribbons with the names of her daughters, on the maps pasted on the wall with destinations such as hope, resilience, future. Escola da Estrada began serving children from forgotten villages, children of truck drivers, farmers, single mothers who could not take their children to the city. It was more than education, it was presence. Luna taught science and meteorology. Lara took care of emotional support and reading programs. Raoul drove the bus on the first routes, this time not to deliver cargo, but to deliver destination. At Unatuamaima, each stop, children ran with their eyes shining. Some said, "I want to be a pilot like Luna." Others shouted, "I'm going to help people like Professor Lara." One day, a shy boy approached Raoul and asked, "Uncle, is it true that you sold your truck just for your daughters to study?" Raoul looked at the horizon and replied, "I sold the truck, and I won the world." And so, in the heart of Brazil, on tires and dreams, a school was born that did not wait for students to arrive. It went to them. And inside, among books, telescopes, and colored pens lived the greatest lesson of all, that love, when directed with courage, can cross any border. Some people leave inheritances in safes. They leave footprints on dirt roads, promises carved in silence, and a love that doesn't need noise to be eternal. Raoul never had a diploma, office, or luxury gears, but he built the impossible with the tools he had: time, renunciation, and faith. Because, at the end of the day, it's not the engines that move the world, it's the invisible sacrifices. And when love is the road, we discover that it is possible to drive without a truck, fly without wings, and transform pain into destiny. If you cried, were inspired, or remembered someone who always carried you even without fuel, share this story now. Comment, "I know a Raoul" if you know someone who has already given up everything for love, and mark here that person who needs to know. His sacrifice will flourish. Sooner or later, it will flourish, and he answers below. What was the biggest truck someone ever sold for you?